golfing journey continues down the coast of the Western Cape before we head up north to the home of the legends.
Staying in Cape Town but travelling about an hour away from Knysna towards Cape Town, you'll find the Obai Golf Estate, situated next to the scenic little town of Harold's Bay.
The resort has been here since 2004. It started with Bertus Streeter. He was the original owner of the farm, and Karafi Holdings got a hold of him, and he got to Ernie, and Bertus's dream was always to build a golf course, world-class golf course on a property, and that's how we got Ernie involved in the project. It's about 220 acres, 110 hectares of property here, and Karafi Holdings is the company, the developer that owns the property and still the owner of the property of both the hotel and the golf course. So him and Ernie got together and put their heads together. And originally we only built a golf course, and then as the golf course evolved, 4 years later the hotel came on board, which is about 3 years ago. So the property is about 7, 8 years old now.
The course was designed by South African golfing legend Ernie Els. The property consists of 3 facets: the golf course, the Hyatt Hotel and the residential development.
The property itself consists of 138 village units. That's the areas right by the hotel that you saw. And then the rest is 220 properties, which I believe 80% has been sold out.
Although Obai is relatively close to the George Airport, getting people to the resort remains a challenge.
The biggest problem is the lifeline from getting the people from Joburg here by air. You know, there's no train to get them here and stuff, so dealing with the airlines is the biggest issue at the moment. We have the product. The problem is just getting the people here and working with the different airlines. And as you might know, the prices for plane tickets between Johannesburg and George, some of the most expensive domestic tickets in South Africa, which is very unfortunate. And hopefully we can get more competition coming in and solve that problem down the road.
But to get people to the resort, the method Obai follows is a simple, tried and tested one.
Affordability. I think golf needs to be affordable. It needs to be open for, I think Disney showed us that a long time ago. If you can get the kids and the wives involved, the husbands will follow, So our focus here is definitely kids. We spend a lot of time on the high schools and primary schools trying to get the kids involved and getting the wives involved. I think South Africa has completely neglected that part of the market in the past, and something we're focusing on now is how to get the wife and the kids here. The husbands will follow. That's the easy part.
The Cape is home to a number of other champion golf courses. Pinnacle Point in Mossel Bay is rated amongst the best.
Given the piece of land that it's situated on, I think you'll be hard pushed to find anything that's more spectacular when it comes to a golf resort. It's the intimidation factor comes from the sheer beauty of the design, and in terms of the golf course, it's not the longest golf course, but I think every tee box offers the golfer just a unique challenge. And if I think golf is played in the mind, and it's. I think on certain holes the course just doesn't allow you to play your natural game. You're either blown away by the sheer beauty of it, or everything kind of looks out of proportion, really. So I think for me that's probably what makes it unique more than anything.
The estate first opened in November 2006 with the golf course designed by Peter Malkovich and Darren Clark. Overlooking the Indian Ocean from a spectacular cliff's edge, the course design is a marvel.
When the course first opened, it was rated as one of the top 10 most spectacular courses in the world, and it's been referred to as Pebble Beach on steroids, and I think that's really just scratching at the surface. I think you have to come and experience it. You have to come and see it. The pictures that you see of the golf course doesn't do it justice, and it's it's a bucket list golf course. It's one of those overseas visitors. I think they compare it to the likes of Leopard Creek and Fancourt Links, and it's a must-play golf course. I think that's all I can say really.
The Cape offers some truly spectacular views of the ocean while you golf, but up in the north of the country, there's golfing amongst wildlife to be experienced.
Well, the golf course is pretty much unique on planet Earth. It's the only golf course in the world, it's the signature golf course, it's the only golf course in the world designed by 18 different golfers. So for a start off, that's unique on planet golf. We start with a South African, Trevor Immelman, and we end with a South African, Retief Goosen, and in between we've got 16 nationalities, the likes of Sergio Garcia, Padraig Harrington, KJ Choi, so proper world-class famous golfers.
But it's not just the legends who've had a hand in this course that makes it so incredible. The one-of-a-kind 19th hole is an experience only golfing enthusiasts should encounter.
Yeah, so the signature course is one of the things, the world's only signature golf course. We've got an academy, we've got a tribute course, which is 9 of the world's most famous par 3s that we've copied absolutely exactly, and probably the thing we're most famous for is the Extreme 19th, which is a par 3 played from the top of the mountain behind me, or near the top of the mountain behind me, down to a green in the shape of Africa, and the only way up is by helicopter.
Although the resort has a dream course, Legends prides itself on attracting an array of visitors.
Well, we get our visitors from all over the world, and we've got a range of type of visitor, from the golfer who comes to enjoy the amazing Bushveld golf course and the Extreme 19th, to 22,000 hectares of Big Five, so we're a full safari conservancy. Our big conferencing facilities, so we get everybody from individual golfers through to conferences, events, weddings, and tourists who want to come to Africa to see animals, the Big Five, probably the thing that most tourists come to South Africa for, so we can supply the whole range.
These are just some of the numerous luxury golf estates and resorts in South Africa.
The one standout feature with all of these courses is just how strikingly beautiful they are. Now, a man who's made a career out of documenting this beauty is Grant Leversha. Grant joins us in studio. Thanks, Grant, for making the time. You must have undoubtedly the best job in the world, going around the world and photographing all of these beautiful courses. What prompted you to get into such a niche market?
Nazipa, well, we're looking at about 20 odd years ago. I first started in sports photography and joined Francois Pienaar's Rugby World Cup 95 team and travelled with them, and that was a special time coming out of post-isolation, you know. And I eventually started toying with and experimenting with the larger formats in photography, and I saw not necessarily a gap, it was something that I really wanted to do because I loved the aspect of, because golf course photography is a type and form of landscape photography. And when I started experimenting with the larger formats on golf courses, something that hadn't been done at that stage, I saw the reaction, and people really started to appreciate it, because when you capture landscapes and or golf courses on large formats, the end result, because of the detailed information and the bigger transparencies then, and now with digital, the larger files, your end result is almost like a painterly artifact. Because of the intense information.
I mean, this book is no ordinary compilation of just photographs of golf courses. Let's talk about the journey from idea to actual conception, where you had the hardcover in your hand.
That was about 12 years ago. I conceived the idea, and I knew there had been many coffee table books done on golf courses, and my vision was to create an art piece. So I went about researching it, finding out worldwide who would be the best craftspeople in their respective fields, from binding, because it's a hand-bound book. It's not machine bound. Each one of these is hand sewn by master craftsmen bookbinders in Canada. Then I researched who would be the best book printers, specialist book printers. I looked in South Africa from the production side in South Africa to have representation here, because we don't have bookbinders that can manage this kind of project in South Africa. It's a dying art. These are middle-aged guys plus, and we find them overseas in Canada, England, France, Italy. But in South Africa, we had the illustrators, calligraphers, editors. So it was basically a collaboration of all these people coming together.
And who's buying? Where do you get the highest traction in terms of orders?
I've found many of South Africa's captains of industry have embraced the project. The signed edition has fully sold out, which has been very encouraging. And then companies that leverage their brands through the sport of golf, they can personalize it for high-end stakeholders and clients. That's been very popular. And what's been very encouraging, it's a book on golf courses in South Africa, but because of the involvement with some of the leading architects of the world, Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, it's been embraced by a growing global footprint of buyers.
I mean, you've seen countless golf courses. Which one stands out for you as the absolute number one, and what is it about that course that makes it your favorite?
It's difficult to pick a number one. There are a few standouts.
Well, am I putting your contractual agreements with some of these guys in question?
No, not at all. I mean, South Africa's got a remarkable landscape. They're uniquely African landscapes. So our golf courses are unique and different in that they are framed within this backdrop of uniquely African landscapes. That's what makes it so appealing. But there are some standouts. Leopard Creek, no question, on the border of the Kruger National Park, and the Crocodile River runs along the length of the course. To stand on the 13th green at Leopard Creek overlooking with hippo and wild, the elephant, herds of elephant, it's just magnificent. It's really unique to this continent. You've got the Sun City courses, Gary Player Country Club, the Lost City. To me, standing on the balcony, the Lost City golf course might not necessarily be a top 10 golf course.
Yeah.
But to stand on the balcony of the Lost City Country Club and look at the closing holes, the 9th and the 18th, towards the backdrop with the Pilanesberg mountain range in the background, that could be the signature view of South African golf, in my opinion.
Do you think there's room for growth if we were to use golfing as a tourism platform?
Absolutely. I mean, I've been speaking to some of the golf tourism people, and what we have, it's not just about golf, it's the package of golf, safari and wine. And that is uniquely South African. And that is, and coupled with the devaluation of the rand, it's becoming very attractive, and even more so recently, as we know the rand has devalued to some extent. So I think there's, in fact, some of the guys even believe that we are underserviced from to bringing in clients through the different the different airlines.
Right.
So there's huge scope still, definitely.
Grant, thank you so much for making the time to join us.